This is the backyard tour series that I've been offering. I'm in Cambridge, Ontario, Southern Ontario. It's October the 7th, 2020, a Wednesday morning at around 11. Temperature is about 15 degrees. I'm out in the yard with my cat Twyla May, checking things out. She likes to come with me for a walk to do this morning stroll through the yard. And remember, I'm in zone 5B, hardiness zone 5B, part of the Carolinian forest in southern Ontario, which extends down into the United States towards Maine. I've got pretty much everything ready for winter. There's a few things that I have to do. Of course, the chairs will be gone and the clothesline. Tools will all be taken in. I'll put the statues that can stay outside down on the ground, turn the bird feeders over once I'm sure that the birds can't get a drink and it's too cold. And come on, Twyla, let's go. The hose will be gone too. Put the hose in the garage so it doesn't freeze up and crack. I've covered up the air conditioner over here. Some of the bushes need to be trimmed. You can do that in the late fall or the spring, like the catnip, that big giant green plant right there. Twyla May's favorite plant. She likes to have a little nibble of that every day. And it's funny because she doesn't usually go over and nibble on the leaves. I take a leaf off of the catnip plant, break it into little pieces, put it in the palm of my hand, and then she nibbles away and loves it. The hostas are still doing their thing. They're looking great at the back of the yard here. But they'll eventually, when it gets a little colder, shrivel up. I have grasses. There's a big tall one over there. And there's grasses all over the place. And they'll be probably trimmed before the snow flies, because I'd rather do it in the fall than in the spring. Even though they look beautiful with ice crystals all over them and bent in different directions. Grasses are my favorite. I like grasses, every kind, and I've got several kinds. I'll show you a zebra grass around the front. Come on, Twyla, we're gonna go for a walk this way. And some of those chairs, Chimnea can stay out. It's an old one, but it's rusty. I kind of like the rusty look. The wheelbarrow can stay out, and the plastic weight chairs can stay out. These solar lights that are all over the place, I like solar lights too. They'll all be taken in, and the batteries will be taken out of them, and they'll be cleaned and ready to go in the spring. But I won't take those in, not quite yet. Still hoping for some nice weather. Even though today it's windy, it's kind of warm for fall. 13, 15 degrees, pretty good. Depends on where you live, right? Come on, Twyla. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go for a walk. Let's see if she comes. We'll just go along the rock pathway here. I worked on this really hard this summer, trying to get it as flat as I could. And it's pretty good. I might change it a little bit next year. This is my area on the southeast side of my house, here and up there a little bit, and along the fence here, where I plant most of my vegetables, just because it needs that sunlight. Yes. And we've got some rhubarb hiding underneath the dirt here. I had trouble with my rhubarb this year, and the reason I had trouble was because I move it around the yard so much keep changing my mind. It needs to be in one spot and left alone, and it'll do fine. So it'll come back, sitting there, the rhubarb. And this area here, it doesn't get as much sun as the side of my house, but this area will be vegetables again. And I think this year coming, I'm going to try the Three Sisters. So the native people that lived in this area years and years and years and years ago, hundreds of years ago, they grew three main crops. They grew corn, which we still grow, and they grew squash, like pumpkins, and they grew beans. And they called them, those three vegetables, they called them the Three Sisters because they would plant a corn stalk, like a corn that would grow into a stalk, and then they would plant beans around the edge of it, and around the outside of the beans, they'd plant the pumpkins, the squash. And when they started to mature, those three plants, the animals, like the deer, would come in and try to eat these things, but the pumpkin, with its long vines and giant fruit and leaves, would keep the deer from getting too close to the corn. And then, of course, the beans need something to crawl up, so it would crawl up the stalk of the corn, use it for support. And then the corn is in the middle, and it's pretty cool. And so I'm going to try to do that in this area here in next May, and see if I can grow the Three Sisters. They didn't do them in the native peoples didn't do them in rows. They just scattered them about the field, and it makes a cool artistic statement too. So this is my shady area over here, where I sometimes have a little tiny fire, even though I'm not supposed to. Like, I mean, a little tiny fire in that chimney, just for effect. I'm too close to the trees and don't want to hurt anything. Twyla May, come on with me. Come on. I'm going to go without you. So we'll just wander around the front here. See what's up. I planted 2 new coniferous trees about a week ago. There, the neighbor lady up the street had them in her yard and she didn't want them. She was going to throw them out. Come on, Twyla. And I rescued them. And I've moved my rain barrel to this side of the house, so I have to finish that off in the next week or so. Make the downspout go into the barrel and save water for all the things that need it. Yes, I do love rocks, and I have lots of bird baths, and I have spent many years in Africa, so I've collected things like rhinos and different things that remind me of Africa. I've tied up my bush there so that it doesn't infringe on the neighbor's side. It's a spirea. I love that kind of a bush. It grows really easy, makes a great hedge, has white flowers, and is clean. Same with my smoke bush. Love the smoke bush. These get big smokes on them. They call them smokes for flowers. And easy to grow, very quick. So if you need an instant bush, you know, within a couple of years you'll get something that size. Right, Twyla? Yes, sir. And this is my larch tree. I've shown you this before. This coniferous looking tree with the needles is really a deciduous tree. Well, it's a coniferous deciduous. It loses its needles this time of year and sits in the yard naked for the winter. Just like the maple over here that's going to lose all those green leaves. Right, Twyla? Come on. Come on, let's go. Follow your little toy here. This is your favorite toy. This is my radical rock. It is called a radical. This is a limestone. There's some grass over there on the boulevard that I planted. And that container there, the white upside down container, it is got some, I think, thyme in it that I use to cook with. There's another grass. Right, Twyla? Let's go this way. Yeah, well, we even have art in our yard because my son is an artist and I love his work. And I put a painting out every once in a while. That'll have to come in. There is I forget the name of it, but it's just a branch from a tree that has a big knot in it. It has a name. And I love that branch. My sister, who lives in the northern part of Ontario, she made this table out of a stump and some iron and a piece of limestone from her bush. Yes, she's a sculptor and has many other talents too. And yes, I love Buddhas. They make me feel safe. And come on, Twyla, we're not going in the front door. Come on, we're going this way. The ferns have done really, really well this summer. They love water, and it's a great picture of my cat. She is afraid of most things and likes to stay close, which is good for me. I don't have to worry about her running off, and she's not allowed to leave my property anyway. And she's getting used to going into the front door. Come on, it's going to rain. Come on in here, Twyla. Come on. Come on, Poop. Come on in. I call her Pooper. Come on into the garage. Come on. I can let you in this door. Come on, Twyla. Twyla. Come on, Pooper. Come on. It's starting to rain. Come on, you go in here. Go on. Go on in. Go on in. You can go in. Yep. She's looking at the vegetables. I store vegetables and canned goods and things whenever something is on sale. I'm going to leave her in the house now because she likes to be safe. So yeah, whenever anything's on sale, I buy it. So there's water down there and some matsu apples and some potatoes and beets. Beets are really cheap and really good for you. And I have lots of olive oil and different kinds of beans. And of course, coconut water. Whenever that's less than $1, I buy a can of that because it has nothing in it but coconut water. That's a good drink just in case you have trouble with getting dehydrated. Of course, I have to store my toilet paper because of COVID. No one seems to be able to get any toilet paper. And my recycling center here in my garage. So I have my garbage, which is pretty much empty. I don't have much garbage because I'm recycling everything in the green bin, and my papers and my plastics. I recycle those, cardboard, cans, glass. Another limestone rock in my driveway. You can always find my house. It's got a rock in the middle of the driveway. And yeah, it's amazing how those petunias and marigolds will flower all season in Zone 5B. And if you just deadhead them every once in a while, they just keep producing flowers. That's been there for months and months, that petunia. The petunia display. My weeping mulberry, I've shown you that before. It's a male, so it produces no berries, but it's been trimmed. It was twice as big as that. And it's continuing to grow. So in the next couple of weeks, I will cut every branch of that off And then next spring, it'll start to sprout again and it'll get even bigger. And my weeping pine is doing fine. Remember the pine tree. If you stand near the pine tree for a few minutes every week, it'll help with any cancer cells in your body. I'm not saying it'll cure cancer. It just gives off some kind of a chemical that you can't smell or taste or hear or whatever, and it helps with the cancer cells that most of us have dormant in our bodies. Now, yes, this is a maple tree. This is the kind of tree that I loved to climb when I was a kid and sit in it. I'm fortunate to have one on my front lawn here, and I don't plan on collecting any sap from it with this sap collector that I found in my wife's aunt's farm. She didn't want it, and I thought, I'll just fill it up with stones and a little cat and put it on the tree, and maybe I'll collect some sap. So there we go, there you have it. This is our October garden tour. Yes, we do have our little display here with the lilac bush. I hang Christmas ornaments on this all year round just because, and toys and things sit on the rocks. The kids like to stop as they go up the street and look to see what I have. And I do belong to a rock and mineral club, and I collect anything that fascinates me. Of course, can I remember what these rocks are? Most of them I can't. There's a lizard and a cat, a couple of birds in the bird bath there that aren't real. My wife doesn't like it when I put things like that in the bird bath so that the birds have trouble getting to the water. She wants me to take it out, which I will. It's another grass. Okay, I'll just back up so you can see the whole house, and then I'll sign off for this month. Until next month.